Hi, I'm Lexi Rosado.
And I'm David Robertson.
And let's talk about the film American Sniper.
If you haven't heard, this movie raked in a record-breaking $90 million over the weekend, a record for January, the month in general, and probably 2015, although it's too early to tell. It also has an A+ cinema score from audiences, so it's getting great word of mouth, and I definitely think we agree with that score.
We do agree with that, but that isn't what we want to talk about. We want to talk about a ton of other things, so stick around with the video. It was also nominated for 6 Academy Awards, one including Best Picture, and another is for Best Male Actor.
For Bradley Cooper. I do think Clint Eastwood was snubbed, though, for director. He did some amazing work on this film, but fun fact...
Fun fact, Steven Spielberg was actually asked originally to direct this film, but because of budget concerns, he decided to opt out. And that is what left Clint Eastwood to direct this lovely war film. But we do have some criticism, which we are allowed.
The ending is questionable, the way they decided to end the film. Now, if you don't know the true story or haven't read the book, it does end sadly.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
There is a sad ending, and Chris Kyle is killed by a fellow veteran that he was trying to help. Do you want to give more details on that?
That is the true story, is that it ended that way. But the film, the way it ended, it was just a title that showcased that. It just stated that. It just stated Chris Kyle was killed by a fellow
veteran that day.
By a veteran he was helping that day. What? It just left us viewers thinking... What happened? What really happened? We didn't read the book. We don't really know what happened, and so it left us researching. So here's the actual facts and the details. The truth is that Chris Kyle did go on a shooting range that day in Texas, and he brought his neighbor and a man named Eddie Ray Roth, who was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. That he was a veteran of he was a Marine. He was an ex-Marine.
And they took him out there to help him work through the post-traumatic stress disorder, and the motive is unclear, but Eddie shot Chris Kyle and his friend that day.
Allegedly, because it's still on trial. But it also ended with a car chase. So after the shooting, Eddie Ray Roth went on a car chase.
Down the freeway and then crashed into a police cruiser. So there's a lot going on there that is not covered in the film at all.
And we don't think a car scene should have been shown, but we do have different views on what we think should have been shown.
Yeah, we think they should have gone a little bit farther and committed to that ending. So what do you think? If you were the director, what would you have done?
So I'm a journalist, a video editor, and a huge moviegoer. And I think that the way the film really should have ended is that it should have showcased, they should have done like the scene. They should have entered in, had the music, gone to the shooting range, and then they should have had a close-up of Chris Kyle's face, and then all of a sudden he's shot, and then you do quick cuts of everything he's accomplished in his life, quick cuts of his family, quick cuts of the veterans, quick cuts of people that he's helped, just quick cuts of him in battle, and then you just do a close-up back to Chris Kyle and fade out, whether he's dead on the ground of his eyes,
and then
fade out.
Rather than having a title that would have described that, have a title that gives statistics or shows his accomplishments throughout his life. I heard Clint Eastwood didn't want to end the film this way because he wanted to not take the focus off of Chris Kyle's life, and he wanted to focus on the accomplishments.
That's right.
So I think it did the opposite by showing that title that leaves us with this cliffhanger. We're wondering about his death then, and we're not as focused on his life as Clint Eastwood intended.
People like us looked it up. So people like us, yes, Chris Kyle accomplished many things, but then we ended up looking things up, and so we ended up looking into what Eddie Ray Roth is doing, and that he's in trial, and started researching what he did. And so Clint Eastwood wanted the focus to be on Chris Kyle, but he may have missed the mark a little bit by just posting a title instead of committing to the final ending scene.
I think they could have handled it in a careful way as not to disrespect the family, and still shown this scene and then crediting Chris Kyle with all his accomplishments with a different title slide.
And then, again, there's a lot of things that we may not know. So we may not know the family. There's a lot of things that go into a film. Maybe the wife really didn't want that scene. Maybe there really was budget cuts, and that's part of the reason why
they couldn't show that.
Steven Spielberg left.
That's just our opinion. We think the film was great overall. The war sequences were incredibly intense. hard to watch at times. The performances were top notch, and the pacing of the film is great.
The pacing
I was never bored.
Agreed. I couldn't even analyze the film because I was too invested in it. And for people that have been invested in war, so war veterans, they were getting very emotional in the film. So in our showing, there was a male in our aisle, and he was very, very emotional. And so we really do recommend this film. It is definitely transforming minds.
It's an important movie, and it's coming at the right time. And I really hope that it wins Best Picture. Of the 5 nominees I've seen out of the 8, I think it's the best right now.
You think it's the best? And so feel free to check out some of our other reviews. Next week, we will be talking about
J-Lo's new movie, The Boy Next Door. I'm a little bit biased, but...
We both are biased. We kind of love J-Lo.
But it's going to be a fun movie, so check out our review on that. And
thanks so much for watching. See ya until next time.